Operation Domination is underway. The ultimate game plan to dominate your NFL experience. With your hosts, Dan
And you gotta be confident about your Achilles when you
Ace
show up.
Thornton,
Yeah, I mean, I got it.
and Adam LaRue. Don't hope to be great and dominate.
Welcome into another edition of Operation Domination. Don't hope to win, be great, and dominate. Make sure you download on your favorite podcast app and check out our video content when you go to the Fantasy Football Advice Network YouTube channel at FF Advice Net. As I said on yesterday's episode, we're going to be here throughout the entire offseason. There's going to be no breaks. We might dwindle down to two episodes a week to one episode a week, but we're going to stay through all the summer, all the spring, all the winter until we get back around for football in September. But guys, it's time for our best bets and to line your pockets green. And there's nobody to help us do that better than the only Chaz Filardi of Sports Betting Weekly. Chaz, how we doing?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yes, absolutely. Happy New Year. Wildcard round, NFL playoffs. Another strong week we're coming off of. Can't ask for anything more.
No, you know what? I texted you. Normally, you and I don't actually communicate that often over the weekend, but I did this weekend only because, I told my son, trust the data, and it was a good weekend.
It was a good weekend. Hopefully, as the games dwindle, right? Because we're used to doing 15 games at least on a week that doesn't have bye. And we're going from that to doing a week that has 6 games on the slate of it. So while there's less to choose from, there's also tighter edges around that because you have the best teams of this year playing each other with less games. So you're going to see that in the player props article that I'm writing later on this week. Instead of 15, I'm only going to have 10 because I want to make sure I'm still giving you the fair edges that I like to give you at a certain threshold is usually what I'll put my stamp on. But there's less to choose from. And for Chaz, I mean, there's less games to choose from, right? So we got to...
The upside is you don't see 13.5 and 14.5 point spreads like you do on Saturday.
No. We do see 10.5 though, and that's our first game actually. So it's a perfect segue. We do see 10.5 for the Rams against the Panthers, and Chaz, that's a little strong to me. So just to give you guys the stats first, the Rams are 12-5 against the spread this season. The Panthers are 10-7. Rams are 10-7 to the over. Panthers have been 7-10 to the under. The total is 46.5 for this game. The Rams are definitely the better team. And I'm not getting swept up in the idea that because the Rams had a letdown against the Panthers in Carolina earlier in the season, be the reason why I say this line's a little bit strong. I say this line's a little bit strong because the Rams have been awful all year when they've had to travel from west to east, and which they're going to have to do that again this week. And then it's a Saturday game on top of it. It's a 4:00 game. So all that kind of goes into it a little bit. Maybe because it's a 4:00 game, it's not going to be so weird for the Rams, even though it's a day earlier. I don't know. I just know they have not been very good going from west to east. I almost kind of like the Carolina Panthers to cover at 10.5. If this was 10, by the way, I would just take the Rams. I wouldn't bet this line at all because you have that half-point hook. I easily see this being like a 27-17 type of game, and then you win because of the half-point hook. I don't know. What do you think, Chaz?
Yeah, you know what? So I did something different this week. What I did is I've got all the data. When you got numbers and you have computers, it's pretty easy to try stuff. So this week I tried something different. I said, okay, who's doing what going into it? So I started with your week 13 numbers, and then I did your week 18 numbers, your final numbers for the regular season. And the Rams, they're giving up more points. I mean, their team total went up 4 points in those 5 weeks for the year. So they were given 13, or they were allowing 16 points a game. Now it's up over 20. I don't trust the Rams not to win by 10. I don't. Yeah, I think I'm leaning, here's the problem. Carolina doesn't give up a lot of points. Ironically, though, at home they give up more points. I think I'm leaning over here.
Okay. I could take the over. I get behind that 46.5. I just said 27-17. That would make it about 44. So I'm probably not quite at the total over there, but it would be easy to see the Rams going.
So let's look at the Rams. This is the last 7, right? 34, 28, 45, 41, 37, 24, 37. What did you say, 27?
I said 27-17 was the score I came up with.
6 of the 7 games, they scored more than that. But here's what I got. I got some playoff nuggets here. Last playoff was in 2018 for Carolina. That sound about right?
Yeah.
They've gone over the number in since 2000. So they were in the playoffs back in the day, right? From 2014 to 2018, they had 8 games in the playoffs. The overs are 7-1. Now, people say, well, that's irrelevant. I know it's irrelevant. I understand that. There's hardly, maybe the owners aren't even right, the same owners as it was then, but I have seen this stuff show this, and so I trust it. So I didn't even look at that, but I feel more comfortable in my bet now.
Okay. So we'll take that. So looking at the over and then looking at the Panthers to cover. Oh, I didn't hit it's an underdog cover. Got to get the howl in there for the Panthers. But I do have player props for you guys in this game. And like I told you, I only have 10 total for the slate. And you're going to see a theme. And I'm going to wait till the end to see if you guys catch what the theme is with my player props. Hint, hint, what games that I bet on. So in this one, I got Matthew Stafford. I got 3 player props for you. I got Matthew Stafford passing yards over 264.5. I have him projected for about 287 heading into this matchup. His last 4 passing yard totals have been 368, 457, 269, and 259. So he's averaging about 338 passing yards. That coincides with Chaz, what you've been saying about.
Let me look at this. So when week 13 ended, he was averaging 248 yards a game.
Correct.
At the end of the year, he was averaging 268. So he brought his average up 19.7 yards a game. I say somebody catches the ball in 5 weeks. That's because we saw those numbers that I read. They were all more than 27.
And part of that reason is because their defense has not been playing as well. So they've been allowing more points. Therefore, they've had to score more points. Because what's funny about it really is that Stafford's done that without Devontae Adams, who's been out for a number of weeks with a hamstring injury. He's going to be back for this game. This is going to be his first game in about a month coming off that hamstring too. So he'll have Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua for a little extra firepower. And Carolina's definitely not a defense I'm afraid of, even though they can play solid at times. I'm going to go with his comrade who's going to help him get over that passing yard mark and go with Puka Nacua and get his over at 92.5. I have him projected for about 116 heading into this game. So his targets the last 4 games, he's 2-2 as far as getting over the passing yard number, by the way, but his targets the last 4 games, 11, 16, 10, and 10. So when you combine that with what Carolina typically gives up, which is over 12 yards per reception, and knowing that Puka Nacua is a stud, and we're already betting the over on Matthew Stafford on the game and on Matthew Stafford on the passing yards, this lines up well for Puka Nacua to get over 100-yard performance this week as well. So pairing it up with that, and then I'm also hammering the Rams one more time. So Chaz, I go through these player props. I'm probably even more with you on the over total because I also have the over on Kyren Williams. His rushing yards prop is sitting at 66.5. I have him projected for about 79.8. Yeah, yes, him and Corum have gone back and forth as far as handling overall workload. But Kyren's last 4 rushing totals, even with Blake Corum in the mix, 78, 70, 92, and 60. So he's been over that number 3 of the last 4 games in and of itself. And the one that he went under at 60, he was only 6 yards off the pace. So I'm going over there on Kyren, on Puka Nacua, and on Matthew Stafford in that first Saturday game. So let's hope I can hit the trifecta here to kick things off.
But you made a comment. You kind of were throwing out a tease there on what's going to happen at the end, but it's good handicapping if the reason you like a bet is a reason that also allows you to get a prop, why would you not double dip? You're doing the handicapping.
Yeah. It has to line up from somewhere, right? Absolutely. And then that night, we have another NFC matchup. I'm kind of surprised the NFL did it this way, but they have another NFC matchup, the Packers and the Bears. So the NFC North going to take on each other again for the third time. They split during the season. And right now we have, and if I'm reading this right, because I think this line is flip-flopped, I think, quite a bit. So it has the Packers cover at -1.5 on the road. I know it was the Bears at -1.5 earlier in the week. And then the total's at 45.5 for the game. Packers have been 7-10 against the spread this season. The Bears have been 10-7 against the spread. Regardless, the Bears only being 1.5 separation from the Packers is a little disrespectful in my mind. Jordan Love is just now getting back after he's been out for the last 3 weeks dealing with concussion issue. Now he's going to come back in this 4th week having to deal with that. Okay, fine. He's going to be full health, whatever. But to tell me he's not going to be a little bit rusty heading into a big pressure situation with a Bears team that can run the football, a Packers defense that's not the same without Micah Parsons. We don't know how healthy Josh Jacobs is. I'm going to talk about him in a little bit. Everything to me tells Chicago should win this game outright. What are you seeing here, Chaz?
Oh, well, hello. I've been saying Bears all year, so I'm not jumping off the bandwagon now. I agree with you 100%. But in the second half, in their last 10 games, they're 9-1 against the spread. They did that right. They were down 16-0. They tied it up. I actually blew off that game. Bet the second half and said, you know, honey, I'm going to take a nap. And I woke up and it was 16-6. And I thought, oh, my God, they're going to win the game. And then they ended up losing. But the second half covered.
Second half did cover. That's why you're second half Chaz. That's why you're second half Chaz. I do have player props in this one too, and I have 4 player props in this game here. So I got Caleb Williams, his passing yards is only sitting at 206.5. Found that very, very interesting. I know it might be a little bit colder, but the Packers defense, like I said, is not the same defense that it was without Micah Parsons. So I have him projected for about 237 yards heading into this game. His last 4 has been 242, 250, 330, and 212. So he's literally been over 206.5 yards passing every single game of the last 4 games, averaging about 258 yards during that stretch. Then I'm going to have Luther Burden go over his receiving yard prop at 42.5. His last 4, 67, 84, 138, 35. And it's sitting at 42.5 for Luther Burden. So only one of those games did he go under. I know that Roma Dunze, who's been out for like 5 weeks now, is going to come back and play in this game. I don't expect him to be a full 100% ready to go, in his routine prime machine type of deal. And Luther Burden has been too explosive as of late to put the genie back in the bottle. The guy who goes by the wayside, who has gone by the wayside pretty much all year anyway, is DJ Moore. Now, Luther Burden may not play as much as Roma Dunze. He may not play as much as DJ Moore. He may not play as much as Colson Loveland. But when he's on the field, he has a ridiculous targets per route run. He has a ridiculous yards per route run. His efficiency is through the roof. One big play he gets over on this. I think he gets at least 5 targets in this game. 42.5. I like the over here. Then we go to Josh Jacobs. Nobody knows how healthy Josh Jacobs is. Every time he would play, he would be active. Fantasy football owners know this. In week 15, oh boy, did he lose a lot of people leagues because he was healthy active, but not actually healthy. He starts that game, gets 5 touches, and Emmanuel Wilson goes the rest of the way. We didn't even see him. Now, they rested him the last couple of weeks in hopes that he'll be good to go for this game. He is going to play in this one, but I don't know how healthy he truly is. And even when he is healthy, he's not the type of running back who gets overly involved in the passing game. So I have him under his receiving yards prop, which is only sitting at 13.5. But he's had 1, 2, 3, and 2 targets over the last couple of weeks. So unless he gets a decent gain out of one of them, he's only getting maybe 2 shots at even catching the ball coming out of the backfield on a regular basis anyway. His routes run doesn't give him opportunities. 6, 7, 14, 9. That's nothing for a running back. He's not getting the volume there. And then one more player prop for you. Christian Watson, 52.5 receiving yards. I'm taking the over. First of all, he blew this over up the last time he played Chicago. Last 2 times really he played Chicago anyway. I have him projected for about 66 yards heading into this one. So he has, the Bears have been allowing a 64.5% catch rate, 9.23 yards per target, and 14.31 yards per reception. The whole case for Christian Watson to go over is for him to hit a couple big plays. And all Chicago's defense has done is allow a couple of big plays to the wide receivers. So I'm taking Watson over 52.5.
So I got that's the last one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because I forgot that here's the playoffs. So I got all the playoff data from like 2012. On the road in the second half, they scored 22 plus in 7 of 7, and from 2013 to 2025, the Packers have had 10 playoff games. That's pretty good, right? It's 12 years.
Absolutely.
10 of 10 over in the second half.
There we go.
So now, those people that thought this data wasn't relevant, 2025, last year. That was the 24, the last year's Super Bowl.
Different players and different groupings and different coaching regimes, and it's been 10 for 10. So there's something to be said for that, 100%. Let's go to Sunday. So Sunday we have 3 games. We have the Bills and the Jaguars. The Bills, I'm going to talk about another disrespectful line. The Bills are favored at 1.5 points. Oh boy, give me the Jacksonville Jaguars to cover this. I don't even think this is going to be all that close of a game. The Jaguars, to me, look like the most complete team in the AFC on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball. I have questions about the Patriots' offensive talent. I have questions about the Broncos at quarterback with Bo Nix, who's not been very good this year. I don't have really questions about Trevor Lawrence the way he's been playing lately. I don't have questions about the Jaguars' defense has been playing well all season long. And the Bills, the Bills are a mess. Outside of Josh Allen and James Cook, like nobody can get open. No one gets separation. Joe Brady's getting head coaching candidate opportunity for what? For letting Josh Allen, Superman, rescue him every other day? It absolutely makes no sense to me. The Jaguars at home being the underdogs, when to me they looked far like the superior team. Definitely giving the Jaguars to win this game outright. What do you have, Chaz?
Everything you just said. I'll add a couple things, but everything you just said. Say it again. All right, so this is it. This was against Houston. Pretty good team, playoff team, right?
Yep.
They scored 29 on Houston. They scored 29. That was the last loss they had against the spread. W. And how many weeks have I said Jacksonville out of my mouth? Jacksonville and Chicago. You said it on both of them. You know what? I don't know if they're getting legacy point spreads from when Green Bay was great and when Buffalo was great, but the quarterback for Buffalo has made as many mistakes as great plays this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Not always his fault, but at the same time, it's happening. And Josh Allen's not 100% healthy. He's definitely dealing with an ankle issue. You can tell by the field. He's laboring away.
All right, so I got 12 teams here, right?
Yeah.
Jacksonville's the only one, Dan, that they're between week 13 and week 18, they got better on both sides of the ball regarding points per game. So they went from 24 points a game to almost 28, 3.6 in the last 5 weeks. So think what you got to do if you got 17 games and you got 5 of them. That's just about a third, 35%, somewhere around there. You raise all the other averages for that whole year. And on defense, it went down almost 3. So they're the only team in my data, and they are, without a doubt, them and New England are my best bets this weekend.
Yep, the trending in the right direction at the right time. I do not have any player props in that game. Pay attention to that because I'll quiz you guys after the show.
Yeah.
49ers and Eagles, they are the 4:30 matchup here. The Eagles at home favored at 4.5 points. The total is sitting at 44.5. 49ers been 10-6-1 against the spread. The Eagles were 10-7 against the spread. 49ers were 10-6-1 to the over, while the Eagles have been 7-10 to the under. Chaz, I don't have a bet as far as the game lines go in this game. I see this game as one of the most wide variance games of the weekend of how I can see this thing getting played out. What do you have?
Well, again, being a 49er fan, I mean, you watch their games every week. You watch them probably more intently. You know the roster more. That says a lot to me, because if you like them, you would say I like them. And Philly's defense is really kicked it up. It's funny because on the road for the first half, San Francisco's got all over us. They have, where is it? 12 of 13. On the road in the first half, they've gone over 12 of 13. But at home for the first half, Philly's allowed 10 or less in 6 straight, and it's gone under in 4 of them. So I do have a play on this game. I think Philly's the better team. I really do. I think they're playing better right now. I saw San Francisco let people march up and down the field on them. And, they could score, but we also saw them get shut out recently. No touchdowns, right?
Yeah. So, that says Seattle game was brutal. And I just want to throw this out there. That was the worst game plan I've ever seen Kyle Shanahan try to execute in my entire life. It was like he manufactured a game plan that would fall into Seattle's hands that week. It's like he didn't even want the 1 seed. I don't know. It just blew my mind with the.
It really, well, we talk about it every week, but when my wife is calling out coaching decisions, watching a game where she couldn't tell you a name of the team, but she's watching a football game and she says, why the hell would they do that? Now, don't get me wrong. Offense coordinator, defense coordinator, head coach, every dynamic is different, but we have, that's why 7 of them don't have jobs. Think about 7 out of how many teams? 32?
Yeah.
That's pretty damn close to a quarter.
And I don't think we're done, by the way, as far as the firing carousel. I think somebody who's in the playoffs right now might be getting canned after this week if they lose.
Yeah.
Well. But we'll see how that shakes out. Ultimately, the 49ers are just too banged up. Like maybe they get Trent Williams and Ricky Pearsall back. Maybe the offense is healthy, but that defense is down to its 5th linebacker. Like it's brutal.
And again, we talk about it when you're betting on Saturdays in the fall. You don't know. Your middle linebacker gets hurt. The guy that comes off the bench could be the next greatest player in that defensive history. But it ain't like that in the NFL. You know exactly what you're getting in the NFL. And if you ain't starting, there's a reason you ain't starting.
Yeah, for the most part, that's 100% true. The Eagles on the other side, the reason why I say I can see wide variance because they have an offense that finds a way to shoot itself in the foot consistently. The defense doesn't. So what we have here is we have basically the 49ers offense versus the Eagles defense to kind of dictate this game, and that's why you have such a wide variance. But I do have player props that I'm going to harp on for this week. So I do have Brock Purdy. I do have him going over his passing yards prop. Thanks to the Seattle game and the Eagles defense, it's all the way down to 228.5. I am projected for 237. It's not going to be a hard prop for him to get over. So his most recent performances, 295, 295, 303, 127 against Seattle last week, of course, was terrible. They only had 42 snaps in that game. While Eagles defense is good, it is not on the same level as Seattle. And if the 49ers have Trent Williams back, I do think Brock Purdy gets a little more time to throw the ball and they convert a little bit more on 3rd down, that being their key. So I do believe Brock Purdy gets over the 228.5 yard mark. That line plays well for if the 49ers are ahead, because if they're ahead, it means they're scoring points, probably off of Purdy's arm. And if they're trailing from behind, then they're trying to play catch up. And I think that they'll get the yardage one way or another. Then I have Saquon Barkley. His rushing yards prop is 81.5. I have him projected for about 88 yards in this game, and that might even be too low. So the 49ers are allowing 4.49 yards per carry to the running back. Saquon has been getting between 19 and 22 carries over the last 4 games. So do the math. All he has to really do is get 19 carries. He'll get over this 81.5 yard mark prop. And then I got A.J. Brown. He has a 66.5 yard receiving yards prop. That's also too low. I have him projected for 75 yards in this game. The 49ers are giving up 12.6 yards per catch. I very easily see A.J. Brown as a 100-yard threat because I see him getting at least 5 to 7 catches in this game. He's a really bad matchup for a secondary that is struggling, especially the safeties over the top as of late. It only takes a couple of shots with A.J. Brown to get over there. Now,
right, so both of these teams have much recent playoff history. Okay, so San Francisco in their last 16 playoff games, it doesn't go back that far because they've had 2-3 in some years. 13-3 under, 9 for 9 on the road. Whereas Philly scores 7+ in the first quarter in 6 straight home playoff games. Now, you wouldn't think both those things match up, but how many times, Dan, have we seen a team score on their first drive of the game? We saw it against Jacksonville. Tennessee marched down the field, they scored a touchdown, and that was it. Not another point.
Never saw them again after that. Yep. So I like that a lot too. Sunday night, that playoff game is going to be the Chargers against the Patriots. The Patriots are sitting at 3.5 with a total of 46.5. The Chargers have been 8-1 against the spread. The Patriots are 11-5-1 against the spread. Chaz, I'm with you. You kind of teased it earlier, but this is a clear Patriots cover 3.5 bet for me. I think they're more than a 3.5 point favorites at home. If the Chargers had Joe Alt, then maybe I'd be singing a different tune. But you have Amari and Hampton, who they rested last week, but still wasn't able to practice on the first practice of the week this week with an ankle issue. So you have the question of, is your running back really going to be anywhere close to 100% heading into this game? The offensive line has been dreadful. As a result to that, going back to week 9, the Chargers offense has been terrible. And the Patriots defense has actually played really well. They should be getting Milton Williams back. They play much differently when he's in the defensive lineup. And Drake May should be the MVP. I see the Patriots winning this and covering this quite handily. What do you see?
Yeah, again, another team that I've been riding. You could ride a team all year, but if they don't make the playoffs, you've been getting points probably, and that's usually how it works. If you've got a team with a big against the spread win record, but they're not in the playoffs, they were getting a lot of points. It's going to be tough to beat Philly. I mean, beat New England. It's going to be tough to beat them. They just don't beat themselves. Vrabel played in 20 playoff games as a player. He was 15-5, and he really is everything you wanted. Remember, he was catching touchdowns. He was leading the team in tackles, and he had a touchdown in the same game. From 2014 to 2025, the Chargers have had 6 playoffs games. All 6 went over the second half, and they allowed 24 plus in 5 of the 6. So
there you go. Last but not least is the Monday night playoff game. I still have a real pet peeve about the NFL doing Monday night playoff games because it's just not fair. Because one of those teams is going to get a short week, and I find it irrefutably unfair.
Well, honestly, you look what you said about last week with the 49er game being on Saturday.
Back-to-back short week.
And that hurt them. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. And what's one day? What's one day? Would you ever have a hangover? What's one day? It's a big difference.
It absolutely is. So it's going to be completely unfair, but we do have it. We've had it for the past couple of years now. Texans are taking on the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Houston is favored.
So do you think that when they saw this matchup, the NFL said, just put them last because neither of these teams is winning the next game anyway? That could have been it.
I mean, so I was actually more surprised. This is like the first time Houston Texans made the playoffs and they weren't playing on a Saturday. That was more of the shocking thing to me as far as that goes. But I with the Houston's defense, I think they are a candidate to win 2 games in the playoffs because that defense is just that elite. But, I mean, regardless, playing against the Steelers this week at 3 points, the total's 39.5. That tells you what kind of game this is going to be. This is going to be an ugly fest, not expecting much offense either way. But I do expect Houston to cover this 3-point line. I don't care if DK Metcalf is back. I don't see the Steelers how they score against this defense. They haven't been able to put up points all year regardless, and now you're going to take on what wound up being the number 1 defense by the end of the year. And an offense with the Houston Texans, by the way, that is getting healthier. It does have some playmakers, and the Steelers defense has been questionable at best at times. I think Houston takes care of business and quite handedly. But what do you have, Chaz?
I'm thinking the guy's name I'm about to mention. You've already referenced him, I think. Tomlin's 8-11 in the playoffs. In their last 6, they've allowed 230 points in 6 playoff games. They're 0-6, of course, against the spread in those games. That's 38 points a game in a playoff game. Playoff!
And Chaz, points for you because you're absolutely right. Mike Tomlin is who I was referring to as far as who I think might get fired if they lose this game upcoming this week. Wouldn't it be hilarious, or at least ironic, if they fired Tomlin and hired John Harbaugh?
Oh, my God.
Would that not be ironic?
That would be a brilliant move. I never even put that 2 and 2 together. That would be a brilliant move. Why would you play for the Giants? Because if you take a Pittsburgh team, okay, and make them a winner, they build a statue for you.
And you don't go anywhere for the next 20 years. Yeah. John Harbaugh can absolutely retire there with the team. And he could take revenge out in the Ravens twice a year if he wants to, too.
And he gets to beat his brother's team up.
Yeah.
Because his brother's never beaten him.
His brother has never beaten him. Yep. I was on the wrong end of that Super Bowl years ago, too. What do you have as betting in this game, Chaz?
All right. So in this game, what do I have for betting in this game? Yeah, you know what? I if I was going to bet a prop, I would try to find the prop. No, it would be no. That would be my prop. No, the quarterback for Pittsburgh does not finish this game because those guys on the end are good. Houston's defense is good. This guy ain't moving. They could break his leg.
Yeah. It could be brutal. All right, so I don't have any props in this game. So again, this is where I come to where you guys paying attention. What games did I have props in, Chaz?
Yeah, well, the ones you like.
Yeah, all the NFC games. Yeah. All the NFC games where there's actually a differential in matchup between offense versus defense. There's not in the AFC. The closest one might be Jacksonville, but all of their lines are kind of too tight for me to be able to confidently say that and fit that edge threshold that I typically try to look at. But that's the only game that I see in the AFC that could be lopsided. The other games, I see points being moved up inside the board, and I see competitive games throughout, and that's kind of what wound up being the theme for me this week. So
here's Houston on the road, right? Are going to go back for their last game when they played the Chargers on the road. 16, they gave up 10. They gave up 16. They gave up 13. They gave up 27 to Seattle. I'm pretty sure Seattle's the best team right now based on seeding. 10, 17, 14, and 14. So, I don't know. What's the under on this game? 39?
39.
So, the 13, 39, 20 to 13, 22 to 13. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to go under.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. It's just not going to take much, I think, for Houston to put this one away. But with that, it's going to close up the show. One of our faster shows, but there's not as many games. There's 6 games to talk about. So that's exactly.
It was really nice having my handicapping done by Wednesday because now I could just sit around and wait. And as you know, with 16 games, you can't throw any of them out when you're handicapping because sometimes the ugliest looking game is the one that jumps out at you as the easy winner, whether it's a team total or a side. I mean, you know me. If I bet 10 bets, I don't know, maybe 70% of them aren't who wins the game. Right. I mean, so the other night, I'm with a Baltimore fan. My son's got Baltimore money line. I'm at his house watching the game, and they say, "Who do you like?" I said, "I'm waiting to halftime, and then I'm going to bet all over." So I'm going to bet the Ravens team total over in the second half. I'm going to bet the Pittsburgh team total over in the second half, and I'm going to bet the over for the second half. And at the end of the game, I had 3 winners, and I couldn't even celebrate because they were just both devastated. My wife was shocked. I said, "Sweetie, the kicking in that field is hard. It always has been.
It has.
I don't care what you call that field. You can call it anything you want. Kicking there has always been hard. Always."
Well, the good news is we have 2 college playoff games coming up Thursday and Friday leading into the NFL playoffs. Just a curiosity, not to put you on the spot too much, but do you have any plays in those games?
Well, here's the thing. I've got zero Indiana football customers. Duh, of course. I've only been in business 15 years. Right. I've got Ole Miss customers. I've got Oregon customers because we did an Ole Miss Sugar Bowl when they won it. And guess what? Rabid fans. Not even good fans. Rabid fans. Sold out everything. Oregon sold out everything. So that's where I'm leaning. And the Miami, they have won, but I was still in college, I think, when they won that, and I'm old. Think about how long ago it was. How long ago? Was it 80 something they won?
Well, no, they won in the 2000s.
Did they?
Yeah, I mean that's what I grew up on was that time of period where Miami was dominant again the second time around.
Yeah, that was before championship footballs for sure.
Yeah,
we started like I said, 15, 20 years ago. So
yeah, for sure. So we'll root for you after that.
But again, there you have you have a couple teams that really are getting. We talked about the two teams, right? The Jacksonville and Chicago getting disrespected. Oregon got beat by this team, so they got to come back and beat them a second time. And Ole Miss just put a whooping on a team that was really good.
Yeah, I mean that Georgia Ole Miss game was the most shocking game of the week, more so than Miami. Winning their game, and everybody was talking about that. I was like, I wasn't honestly all that surprised that Miami won that game, but I was shocked Ole Miss beat Georgia.
Those back-to-back plays that kid make, it was like Johnny Manziel and Lamar Jackson had a baby. I mean, it was just amazing. He just did stuff that it was like Superman, no doubt about it. I don't know if he's going to pull that off, but so yeah, in a perfect world, there would be an Oregon Ole Miss. But either way, no matter what, on Saturday, you will be able to buy a pre-sale football for the winner of that game. So what we do, Dan, is we sell two footballs every year. So when I get back from Vegas from the AFC NFC weekend, we will sell both of those footballs. We'll do a pre-sale so you get them cheaper. Prices are going up too because of tariffs and stuff. And if they lose, then you get your money back. But if you win, you save some bucks.
Well, there you go. Make sure you go to championshipfootballs.com to check that out, especially on Saturday. That's going to do it for today's show. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you come back next week. We're going to continue on with the DFS cocktail hour for the divisional round, and we're continuing our jump start into Dynasty offseason talk. I think we'll be getting ready for the Senior Bowl with some of the prospects that we'll be talking about in that episode. And of course, we'll be back with Chaz Filardi of Sports Betting Weekly to
quick fantasy question.
Yes, sir.
How much of your team turns over year to year in the Dynasty?
Not a big portion of it. So a lot of it, and there's different versions of leagues out there for sure too. But for the most part, what most people play, you're really only losing players if you're trading them away. And then you have a rookie draft,
they retire, right? Or they retire. Yeah.
Or they retire. Yeah. So they either retire or you're trading them away. And then each year you get a rookie draft that usually, depending on the league, has 4 to 5 rounds in it. So you might, depending on how many trades you made and all that kind of stuff, at least 5 players type of deal, maybe more than that, depending on what draft picks you did. So there's not a huge turnover. It does take several years to.
Yeah, but those are all skilled players too, though.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, 100%.
You're not drafting tackles.
No. Yeah, it's quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends. Yeah. Maybe a couple defensive players if you have some IDP spots.
Yeah.
In those leagues too. But it's a ton of fun. The Dynasty leagues are the one leagues where if it's in the offseason, you're still actively playing fantasy football because you're going to draft the rookies, you're going to make trades for all that stuff. So that's what makes it so much fun.
And you get to chat with your buddies,
Yeah. That's what fantasy football really ultimately made. It was made to bring groups of friends together over a shared interest. That's ultimately where it started from, and now it's huge. But we'll be back next week with Chaz Filardi too, guys. With 4
games, right? Next week?
4 games next week. So it might be a 20-minute episode.
Yeah, there we go.
Who knows? So, guys, make sure you download Operation Domination on your favorite podcast app. Check out our video content on the Fantasy Football Advice Network YouTube channel at FF Advice Net. And Chaz, as you always like to say,
yeah, let's always be cashing, man.
We'll see you guys next week.